Martin Williams, Stephen Jones, Shanklin, great angle. Support is there, Morgan. Is that the Grand Slam? Is that the Grand Slam?
I'm wrong. Should have done.
You know, we'd found ourselves in a situation before, final game of the season, the opportunity of a Grand Slam.
I'm finding it hard to resist.
Expectations were to try and win a Grand Slam. You know, I'd be lying if I told you otherwise. It was definitely a Grand Slam.
Some of us had always said it was a golden generation of players, but the proof of any golden generation is in the trophies they win.
We've been second in the competition, I think, 4 or 5 times. Things go badly, you only have the team and you only have your family. People like to support winning teams and don't like so much to be associated with teams that failed.
At the end of 08 Six Nations, Ireland had lost 10 of their last 15 matches, a run that would have been unthinkable throughout much of that decade. And they're at a really, really low ebb. It looked like a team that might even have been over the cusp and was on the way down.
Until you actually achieve silverware, I think you always have that niggling feeling in your head that you're an underachiever.
The question from the Irish team was, could they recover from what was definitely some psychological blows?
Ireland hadn't won a Grand Slam in 61 years and people were wondering if we were ever going to do it.
Radio Wales.
Good morning and welcome to Morning of the Match on the day that the 2009 Six Nation Championships will be decided.
Guys are excited, guys just wanted the game to come around. It had been talked about and built up in the media for so long.
You had to pinch yourself every so often to see that you were in that situation and that you were a small part of it. But it was so focused that you probably didn't have much time to think about it. It was a case of, well, what's to be done next? It wasn't a time for reflection, really. It was more a time for a bit of action and a bit of activity.
Definitely when you looked around, you just saw the experience. I mean, so many guys that had been to the very depths, you know, the worst days, and during the very, very good days as well. So we had a great mixture of experience, a lot of fearless youth as well, which was very important for us.
You know, so that first Monday, Tuesday, we'd, announce the team again, go through the rigours of that. That was the ups and the downs of it. If we left the team the same way through the Six Nations, you wouldn't have that, but you have to go and disappoint guys again, having played very well.
You know, if there's one match, I suppose, in your career that you want to be involved in, it's a Grand Slam decider.
Hate it. Because nobody enjoys it. It's... How would you tell a guy who's given you everything that he's not starting? It's just... Sometimes there's a bit of lip service played to the squad ethic. We didn't have one guy dragging his arse around the place. The way everybody rode into it was a sign of the men that they are.
You then have the opportunity to talk to Declan on an individual basis, and you want to ask him this and tell him that, and then you walk away from those meetings thinking, geez, he's a lovely guy, isn't he?
The atmosphere builds early in the morning. So it's not the kind of thing you're like, oh, you just sit down and just try and forget about things. The atmosphere and the tension was building all morning. The support they were getting from the people, the Irish people who travelled, was fantastic. People just turned up from everywhere.
Hugely valued by the team, and it's a key ingredient, I think, to our success. The team became possessed because of the supporters, I think. We enjoy probably going into the Lions Den, which was Cardiff that day, when there was going to be 70,000 against us.
Myself, Paddy Wallace and Shane Jennings went for a coffee uptown in Wales, which, we put our hoods up and went for a bit of a walk around just to try and soak up the atmosphere.
Superstar. Yeah, superstar Tommy there, yeah.
Yeah, well, not quite superstar because nobody recognised me.
Cardiff is unique because you go down right through the streets, usually like with two outriders on horseback in front of you stuff, and all the supporters are there, and it's real slow, like it's crawl and pace down through the street, and you really do get the buzz in because the stadium is right in the city centre.
To have, the amount of people there, crazy Irish, supporters who know that there's so much on the line, and we feed into the whole atmosphere as well. We know what's at stake, and it really was a real sense of there was something real different and special about that day.
It was the last game in the Six Nations that had come down to a possibility, that it was on, and fellas did realise that there was something big to be achieved.
You never really know what's going on inside someone's head. Guys can hide it well, and personally I was probably a bit more nervous than I would have been for another Six Nations game. But I wasn't going to try and let everyone know about that. I don't think you need to affect other players. You try and hold that within yourself.
Brian was his chirpy self, and he's always very confident in the morning of the game, and I've kind of come around to that way maybe of thinking myself to enjoy it. I wouldn't have enjoyed it before, but I just remember we were very relaxed.
I think one of the things I remember is just being insanely bored because each hour is literally tick tick.
I don't get nervous as such, sometimes I just don't want to be there. I want the match to happen maybe 2 days later and leave me relax a little or something like that. It's just a strange thing to describe.
I think when you're nervous and excited about games, you're sharp, and that's the way you want to be for the biggest of games, as that was.
To win away from home in international rugby is so hard. To win away against a good side, the reigning Grand Slam champions, even more difficult.
The stakes are high. We don't have to mention it. We don't have to change anything to make that obvious. The stakes were high, and the focus had to be right.
It's a pretty special place, the atmosphere is incredible there. It's deafening, even pre-kickoff it was deafening there, and it was, it really did add to the occasion, really, yeah.
This is pure theatre, pure drama.
There's no doubt leading into the game, we again had to keep a level head. It's still in the back of your mind, what may be.
I think the intensity in terms of the build-up before that whole week is fantastic. It's just actually tangible.
It was a force of nature, almost a journey that had to be brought to an end.
Real worry about this is that just how bad Ireland were. This match shows that we are now susceptible to Scotland, Wales, England and France, and maybe even Italy in the next Six Nations Championship.
Sorry, just Brent, I heard you say during the game there that one of the worst games you'd ever seen, Ireland.
One of the worst games I've ever seen. Full stop.
The November series really challenged what we were all about.
This team has spent a fortune. It's hired 3 of the best coaches in the world, one for defence, one for attack, one for the forwards.
That's a question. That's questionable.
They've got 5-star world-class coaches.
I suppose confidence wasn't overly high. I didn't realise that it might be that way because I had worked with a lot of those lads before. The Argentina match was fairly torrid, ugly affair, really. That's not the way you want to be playing week in, week out. Confidence is a funny thing, It's nobody can quite put their finger on it as to why some people have it and other people don't, but it certainly goes with the result.
He was taken aback by the lack of confidence in the players and the way they malfunctioned as a team. And when they came together at Enfield, I've no doubt that he probably faced innermost inside him the toughest challenge of his entire coaching career, because this was now Test rugby, and there was a danger that the team mightn't achieve its potential and mightn't get out of this horrible cycle it was in.
Before in previous years we'd gone to Portugal and sunned ourselves and had a bit of R&R, and it was quite nice. So to go to Enfield, guys weren't overly happy with it, and the prospect of hard training just before Christmas.
I suppose ever since You know, Declan came in, a few small things changed, but I think, you know, his greatest strength is probably running a really tight, I suppose, friendly, happy ship.
We didn't do a whole lot of pitch work at Christmas time.